What's going on, fellow A-pluses? It's your boy Adam Perez. We're back once again with a brand new video. As boy, do we have some news for you. Power Ranger fans, unite! That's right. I'm getting back in my Power Rangers bag for this one, as we finally have ourselves an update certainly worth talking about when it comes to the Power Ranger franchise. It's been a minute, y'all. Like, it's been a minute since I went ahead and talked Power Rangers with you guys, as I really have been just kind of flabbergasted as to like the massive L Hasbro has certainly taken in regards to not utilizing the Power Ranger franchise to certainly its advantage, to certainly say the least. Ever since the passing of Brian Goldner, it seems as though this brand new CEO, Chris Cox, has had no idea what to certainly do with it. And I think they even maybe approached Netflix with like a new pitch for a new Power Ranger show, and Netflix was like, "Nope, don't want it. That is not what we signed up for." And so last I heard, and somebody comment in the comments below if I'm wrong on this, I heard that they were trying to pitch this new quote unquote idea to other people, and that it just wasn't certainly catching fire. But we have ourselves a very fascinating update that's definitely worth talking about, guys. Now, look, we're going to get into some news here that's going around, and then we're going to get into my reliable source. Okay, so the first bit of news that we're going to be diving into comes from a source that I personally don't mess around with too much. I know he is kind of an insider and things like that, got his own Patreon that he, you pay to get additional news and tidbits of information. Sometimes this stuff hits, sometimes it certainly doesn't. But he's not one that I truly rely on. But the fact that this has now been backed up by several different sources, your boy is paying attention now. But let's go ahead and dive into this Power Ranger news, because according to Mega Power Brazil, who I love getting my Power Ranger news from, I have to translate it into English, but because it's originally in Portuguese, but Mega Power Brazil says new Power Ranger movie and animation in development. How far along in development, that we don't know quite yet, but this dropped on Christmas Day, y'all. Christmas was good to Power Ranger fans, let's just say that. But let's get a little bit deeper into the news. Insider Daniel RPK, known for bringing scoops and rumors from Marvel and DC, updated his X page with a new rumor, this time focused on colored heroes. Wait a minute. What do you mean by that? I'm just kidding. Daniel RPK posted today on his Patreon that a new Power Ranger movie is in development, as well as an animated series. RPK is known for several rumors and has hit some of them in recent years. So I do find him hit or miss. This is the gentleman that I was talking about. In addition, a well-known Power Ranger insider, Jin Saku, commented that the studio involved would be Paramount. Is it coming? In September of this year, Oliver Dumont, current president of Hasbro's entertainment division and former director of E1, briefly commented on the future of the franchise. In the post announcing the release of Magic the Gathering animated series, he was asked about the involvement of Power Rangers. He says, does this include Power Rangers? Yes, we have some interesting plans for some brands, including Power Rangers, but I can't say anything. And this was back in September of this year. But for me, the idea that this has in fact been backed by well-known Power Ranger insider and my bro, Jin Saku, commented that Paramount would certainly be involved here. The notion of Paramount being involved kind of makes perfect sense to me, if you ask me. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Paramount owns Nickelodeon, or they've had a connection with Nickelodeon and whatnot. I believe Nickelodeon might be under the banner of Paramount, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like they've kind of been in that utilized this Power Ranger franchise before in the past. And here's another opportunity, to certainly say the least. I personally am a big fan in regards to what Paramount has certainly been doing as of late, to be quite frank with you guys. I mean, if you look at some of the current IP and franchises that they're currently working with, I mean, they've been able to revitalize things like Star Trek, which not only has multiple spin-offs and shows, but also animated series as well. I feel like Star Trek is as hot and as popular as it's ever been, especially in regards to TV. They've been definitely doing their best best to try and get a new couple of movies actually off the ground. But Star Trek is certainly strong under Paramount. Mission Impossible is certainly wrapping up. They wind up doing 8 movies. They have a Final Reckoning film certainly yet to go ahead and drop later on this year. So with that franchise coming to a close, Power Rangers would be a really great fit. Speaking of great fit, they also have Transformers, which they've went ahead and revitalized Transformers once again with Bumblebee, Rise of the Beast, that I've been a big fan of even the animated series Transformers 1, 2. I mean, Scream has been revitalized also since 4 and 5 wind up hitting. I feel like it's more popular than ever. Let's not talk about Smile 2, shall we? But Sonic the Hedgehog, who would have thought? Sonic the Hedgehog now completing the trilogy. Recently announced on Variety in an exclusive report that Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is certainly in development, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Like, that's become a revitalized show and franchise as well with the great animated series that they just had. They're set to go ahead and drop an animated mini series too, and then we got a sequel to Mutant Mayhem that's set to go ahead and come out next year or the following year. And they also just had Top Gun a couple of years back that was, like, for some people, movie of the freaking year. So if the idea of Paramount is in fact true, I'm completely on board with this idea of them maybe taking over control of the franchise. But let's go into further details, because since Christmas, Jin Saku has been posting on his Twitter account more details for us to certainly enjoy. I believe this came from him today. Let me just double check. Yeah, December 26th, around 2 p.m. today. Jin Saku says the following, a couple of tidbits for us to dive into here. He says, so I talked to my super friends, and these are things that we've heard revolving the new film. Completely new film, nothing to do with Entwistle's reboot show for Netflix. So completely new concept, completely new idea. Whatever Entwistle was working on is unfortunately in the past. I'm really looking forward to Jonathan Entwistle's Karate Kid Legends, to be quite frank with you, but completely new film that's separate of anything that has been discussed before. Hasbro and Paramount have been in negotiations for a few months now and finally made solid progress as of recently. Expect Paramount Skydance to retain the media rights for the brand. So they're going to be the ones that really have control of the brand in regards to, I would assume, the creative aspect of things. Hasbro spent a fortune in regards to getting Power Rangers, I think like $512 million if I'm not mistaken. So I will be kind of curious as to what the amount is going to be for Paramount. I got to assume it'll probably be less than that. I can't imagine Paramount paying more than that to Hasbro, considering the fact that they really wasted that potential for that franchise, with the exception of like Cosmic Fury and Once and Always, but never living up to the full potential of what they certainly could have done. So I am kind of curious if Paramount will certainly get a deal in regards to it. Within those meetings, there were talks of a buyout, but I don't know how far they went before both parties are open to it, and it'll depend on the right price. But they've been developing this film, and as of recently, things are moving fast. That's interesting to me. That's interesting. It seems like Paramount is really eager to go ahead and do something with this. God, I just hope that they're not. My worry and my fear right now, honestly, is that Paramount gets this and they're like, hey, it would be great if we have a giant crossover with Transformers. I mean, some people might really think that's kind of cool, honestly, but look, I'm definitely going to need at least 1 or 2 Power Ranger movies before we even get to that point, okay? But I am eager to hear that if they are developing this film and things are moving fast. For me, this means that Paramount clearly might have a plan in regards to the direction in which they want to take it, how to utilize this brand, and really sort of make it flourish. I believe I even heard Jin Saku in a recent post of his saying that there are some really big time sort of showrunners and executives and writers that really want to get their hand on this brand and do something with it. And when you've got prominent name like Paramount Pictures involved here, they can definitely bring in some really great people in regards to being showrunners and directors and writers for some of these upcoming movies. So we'll see. He also says it'll be a theatrical film, but they're aware of the 2017 movie situation, so they're going to try and be cautious, pick the best release date possible before announcing it. My sources suggest late 2026, since most of the heavy hitters will have already come out. 2026 seems a little bit too early for me personally. I get the idea of like a holiday film by 2026 if that's the route that they go. But if you ask me, isn't that when Dune Messiah is supposed to come out or something like that? I think there's just too much competition late 2026 still. If you ask me, if I'm them, I would aim for like March, April, May of 2027. And that, if you think about it, gives us about about 10-year gap between the Power Ranger film and this one. And I remember very vividly when we talked about the idea of Hasbro developing a film, one of the things that I said, especially after the 2017 film, despite it amongst fans being a good film, it just didn't do well at the box office, unfortunately. And one of the things that I always said, I think the idea of returning to a film like 5 years after something didn't do successful at the box office is a really bad move. I think even though I don't want to say it left a bad taste in people's mouths, I think you still want to separate yourself, give yourself some time from that last film to get sort of a fresh audience, fresh take, fresh opportunities, if you will. And I do think something like a 10-year period from 2017 being the last time we got a movie to 2027, I think is probably the better route to go. And I think you get a good early jump, if you will, on kicking off sort of the summer blockbusters, which I feel like now kind of begin like that March, mid to late April sort of timeline. So as much as they are clearly wanting to develop a film and moving very fast, I would certainly say take your time. Take your time. We've waited this long. Fans will come back for a Power Ranger film in like 2 years. Okay. He also say no story details at the moment, or whether or not it'll be another MMPR reboot, but whatever it is, they're confident enough to spend money on it, and development is moving fast. Expect next year to be news heavy. And this is the previous post he wound up dropping on Christmas. So yeah, man. Yeah, I would say I'm okay if they are gonna do another MMPR reboot. I really would like fresh characters, honestly. I truly would. If the animated film or animated series is something that's up for grabs, I would be completely okay with that as well. I don't necessarily know if they emphasize the idea that this is going to be sort of a reboot. I look, I wouldn't put it out of the question if there's an opportunity to continue to build upon the lore that is already Power Rangers in the past, having some sort of connected tissue and not having a complete reboot. I would certainly be open to that as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I think the sky is certainly the limit. I think Paramount is a great production company to go ahead and take this. And it is fascinating that Jin Saku did post this earlier as well, earlier in the week. There's a light in the distance from the theme song of Dino Thunder as he winds up dropping the Dino Thunder theme. Could this be building off of, look, I always, especially with the return of Tommy, I always found Dino Thunder to be like MMPR 2.0, or like the evolution of what MMPR would eventually grow up to kind of be. Like, it feels very much like a direct sort of continuation to the original series, and it would be fun to kind of see them establish something maybe more out of Dino Thunder, or a continuation of Dino Thunder. Maybe the concept of 3 individuals instead of a full team of 5, maybe go that route. I don't know if this is a hint that Jin Saku certainly knows more than what he's letting on, or the simple idea of, hey, there's light in the distance, in the sense of there's hope for Power Rangers at the end of the tunnel. So big things are happening here, man. Big things are happening, and I'm certainly here for it, to be quite frank with you. Look, Animated series, I'm open for. I think Power Rangers needs an animated series. Maybe that's what sort of starts the floodgates, if you will. I'm still open for an anthology series. I think an animated series to at least continue on the franchise from what it's been over the past several 20 plus 25 plus years, I think would be a really good route. As far as the movie route goes, whether that's going to be a completely fresh reboot and separating itself, or a reboot in the sense of new MMPR, but just connected to the overall lore that we've gotten. I'm open to anything at this point, to be quite frank with you, as a Power Ranger fan. As long as creative, as long as it's not just a money and cash grab. I like to hear development is moving fast, but at the same time, that certainly does worry me. If anything, I hope that means that they have at least a showrunner or a director and writing team that have some ideas that they're already kind of spitballing with each other. That seems like, yeah, we certainly might have something here, if this deal certainly goes through. So I hope the talks between Hasbro and Paramount certainly continue. And we'll see how much Paramount winds up paying for the rights, the media rights to Power Rangers, if this certainly works out. But one of the things that we've always talked about too on APlus Hero Report is how we personally have felt Power Rangers has had a missed opportunity. We've got ourselves a Pacific Rim series that's going to be dropping for Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. Amazon MGM is also creating a live action Voltron movie, right? When you've got the concept of big teams, big mechs forming one gigantic robot to take on monsters and kaiju, it's almost like that space is dwindling for something like Power Rangers to have a big impact. And maybe with Hasbro not doing anything, maybe Paramount recognizes that, in a sense that these could be successful. And we should probably get on the bandwagon of that if we've got a really good idea. So maybe they see what's coming, and this is Paramount's opportunity to be like, yeah, we want a piece of that big mech action right now too. So and Power Rangers is a more than recognizable brand outside of maybe Voltron. Yeah, man, hopefully this turns out successful. But look, as we get more information, we'll certainly talk with you guys. Maybe I'll try and hit up Jin Saku and see what his schedule is looking like after the new year. Maybe we can get him on a live episode of APlus Hero Report if he's got any new Power Ranger news for us here within the coming weeks. But we'll definitely continue to keep you posted. But look, guys, at the end of the day, these are simply my APlus opinions. I want to know yours. What do you think about all the news that's certainly coming out? Are you hesitant? Are you all in like myself? If this, in fact, certainly turns out to be true with Hasbro and Paramount, what are you looking forward to? Are you excited for it to be with Paramount? Any ideas? How would you certainly tackle it if you're a Paramount? Go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts. But until next time, do me a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.